So for those that don't know me, my name is Snyder. I've been meditating daily since 1976. I was authorized to teach by the Venerable Pa Auk Sayadaw in 2007, and since then have been leading retreats in the US, the UK, and Europe. I've practiced in the Zen tradition for about 20 years, also with some Tibetan Buddhist teachers, and then finally in the Theravadan tradition for a little over 20 years now as well. Today we're going to be exploring Karuna meditation, which is compassion meditation. And we'll be practicing, as well as I'll be going over the conceptual context and understanding and the details of the practice as well. Karuna meditation, compassion, is really an important meditation and also an important quality to have available in our heart. And it's particularly useful in helping us to develop the ability to be with whatever unsatisfactoriness, whatever suffering is present in our life or in others' lives. And this is the first noble truth of Buddhism, which is dukkha, which is the unsatisfactoriness or suffering that's in life. And we can meet unsatisfactoriness either not getting enough of what we want, we get something that we're desiring, but it goes away too quickly. Also not getting what we want. And it even includes if there's confusion about what we should want and what we should want to reject in our experience. So to start off today, just take a couple of nice deep belly breaths and feel your feet on the floor. Let yourself feel the support that the floor has and the earth beneath, holding you right here. And we're going to start with doing a meditation, and then I'll spend some time talking about the Karuna practice. With all of the Brahmaviharās, which translates as the divine abodes, we have a meditative object, which is the sole focus of our awareness. We don't suppress or repress whatever is not our meditative object. We just don't give it any added energy. We let it be just like clouds in the sky and allow them to just be present. Karuna is the ability to be present to witness either our suffering and dissatisfaction or another's suffering or dissatisfaction. And in the Brahmaviharās, we have support phrases that support us in staying with the meditative object. The traditional supportive phrase for compassion is be free from suffering. So in this practice, we make contact with someone who we know is suffering right now, and we use the support phrase be free from suffering to connect with their suffering. We're not taking over their suffering. We're not fixing their life circumstance. We're not doing any of that. We're simply being present and helping support them in being with what's suffering or what they're have a dissatisfaction about. There are alternative phrases if you find the be free from suffering to not be a good fit for you. There are several of the alternative phrases which you can pick from also are be free from suffering, know peace, open to this pain with tenderness, accept this pain, and release this pain. And ordinarily within the Brahmaviharās, if one were to do this on a retreat, for example, we would work through a category of beings, meaning what people would we offer compassion to? And we normally start with someone who is suffering, someone we know who is in pain. And then the category of beings is for ourself, next for a benefactor or a mentor, then a friend, then a neutral person, a difficult person, and then finally all beings. And there are psychological resistances, emotional resistances to compassion. One is the enjoyment of another suffering. If we have a sense that somebody is suffering and maybe they deserve it somehow. Also, cruelty is a resistance to feeling compassion. And that's cruelty is generally the intentional making or adding to another suffering. And the most common example of that is if we're in a romantic relationship and in an argument, we say something specifically to hurt the other person. That's an example of cruelty. And what can be similar to compassion can be pity. Pity is different than compassion in that we're looking at their suffering with a view of some superiority. So we think they feel bad, but we feel sorry for them in a way that has, it's not a parity, it's not an equality. We're not really wanting to support their suffering, but just to feel sorry for them, which is different. Righteous anger can sometimes appear to be like compassion. This is particularly true if someone is angry at the cause of the other's pain or suffering. So if you know someone has been treated badly in, say, their work environment, and you get angry at their employer or their supervisor, that's more of a righteous anger rather than compassion, which again is just supporting their experience. And finally, fear. Fear can arise instead of compassion. Sometimes the pain or suffering someone is experiencing can be more than we can meet, and that can trigger fear in us. So it's important to realize that we don't want to work with people who are having so much suffering that it's difficult for us to be present to their suffering. So in this Karuna meditation, which we're going to start, you want to be present in your heart area. I don't mean necessarily physically in your heart, but in that general area. And when you have compassion arising, when you have a felt sense in your heart, normally it feels like a kind of flow that's coming from your heart area. Notice what that is, how that flow feels, and see if you can rest your awareness in that quality of compassion. And this is a time, if you're able to do that, you can let go or reduce the supportive phrases. So if you're feeling compassion and it's feeling strong enough to rest your awareness in or with, then go ahead and try letting go of the support phrases. And if it's appropriate, you'll find you'll be able to stay deeply with the compassion, the felt sense of your compassion, rather than needing the words to support the feeling. So I'm first going to go through some simple posture instructions to make sure you're in the most supportive posture you can be for the meditation. Once again, feel your feet flat on the floor. Feel the support of the building you're in holding you, and the earth beneath holding that building. Ideally, you want your knees to be lower than your hips, and that allows the natural pelvic tilt. We want to have a straight back, but not be so severely straight that we don't allow for the natural S-curve in our spine. If you wish, you can rock a little to the left and right. Make sure you're centered and your weight is evenly distributed. Relax your shoulders. Imagine your shoulder blades melting down your back toward the floor. This will open your chest and allow more natural breath. You want your neck to be loose, so you can do some very small circles with your head just to make sure your neck is relaxed and your head is centered well on your neck. Your face should be on a flat plane, perpendicular to the floor, with your chin tucked down ever so slightly. If your chin is up, your head is up, it promotes daydreaming and thinking. If your chin is too far tucked down, that will promote drowsiness and sleep. You want to relax your jaw. We hold a lot of tension, excuse me, hold a lot of tension where our jaw meets our skull. So you can always move your jaw a little bit, just make sure there's some openness in that socket. If it's comfortable for you, rest your tongue on your upper palate behind your teeth. Relax your face. Let your eyes be soft in the sockets. There's nothing to see or do with your eyes. And just let your breath be natural. No need to make it anything else. So if you're a visual meditator, picture a suffering person in your mind's eye. If you're not a visual meditator, connect with the felt sense of their suffering. What does their energy feel like, this person you know who's suffering today? How does their suffering feel to you? When you have the suffering person clearly in your awareness, silently repeat the phrase, "May you be free from suffering." Continue repeating this phrase as you hold the suffering person in your awareness. Don't look for a way to fix their suffering or change their situation. Their suffering is actually offering a life lesson, a teaching to them. Gently sense and feel your awareness in your heart energy as you continue with this meditation. Again, if you feel a felt sense of compassion, a kind of flow from your heart area, see if you can rest your awareness in the direct experience of compassion. If your awareness has wandered from being with this suffering person, gently return it without criticism or self-judgment. in these last few moments before I ring the bell, see if you can stay close to this suffering person and the felt sense of compassion in your heart area.